WrestleMania 7, 1-0. The match ended once Snuka's attempted springboard maneuver was countered as The Undertaker caught him, and he then hit the tombstone piledriver before pinning Snuka. WrestleMania 8, 2-0. After delivering his finishing move, the DDT, to The Undertaker for the second time, Jake Roberts went to the outside to attack Undertaker's manager Paul Bearer. The Undertaker then delivered a tombstone piledriver to Roberts, before rolling him inside the ring and pinning him. WrestleMania 9, 3-0. The 8 featuring Giant Gonzalez was disqualified when he covered The Undertaker's face with a cloth covered in chloroform. This was the only DQ victory in The Undertaker's streak, as all other wins were obtained by pinfall, submission, or casket. WrestleMania 11, 4-0. The match, refereed by baseball umpire Larry Young, finished when The Undertaker first body slammed and then delivered a flying clothesline to King Kong Bundy before pinning him. WrestleMania 12, 5-0. Prior to leaving for WCW, Diesel lost to The Undertaker via tombstone piledriver. WrestleMania 13, 6-0. In a match for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, the finish came when Bret Hart distracted Sid long enough for The Undertaker to take advantage and deliver a tombstone piledriver. WrestleMania 14, 7-0. After Kane had kicked out of 2 tombstone piledrivers, The Undertaker delivered a third to pick up the win over his storyline brother. WrestleMania 15, 8-0. The first WrestleMania match to take place inside a Hell in a Cell ended when Undertaker delivered a tombstone piledriver to Big Boss Man, who was then hanged from a noose by the Brood. This bout was during the Ministry of Darkness era. WrestleMania X7, 9-0. Following a match involving a brawl through the crowd, The Undertaker finally pinned Triple H after using the last ride. 31. This bout marked The Undertaker's first WrestleMania appearance under his American Badass biker persona. WrestleMania X8, 10-0. Fought under no disqualification rules, The Undertaker beat Ric Flair after delivering a tombstone piledriver, despite interference from Arnold Anderson. WrestleMania 19, 11-0. Despite The Undertaker's scheduled tag team partner Nathan Jones being removed from the match beforehand, Jones helped Undertaker win by delivering kicks to both Big Show and A-Train, and allowing The Undertaker to hit a tombstone piledriver on A-Train to get the pinfall win. This bout at WrestleMania 19 would be the last match Undertaker would have under the American Badass persona. WrestleMania 20, 12-0. Reverting to his Deadman persona, The Undertaker defeated Kane for the second time at WrestleMania by executing a tombstone piledriver. WrestleMania 21, 13-0. The finish to the match came when Randy Orton attempted to execute the tombstone piledriver, only for it to be reversed by The Undertaker into one of his own. This match marked the first time an opponent of The Undertaker's wanted to face him at WrestleMania explicitly to end his undefeated streak, as opposed to having a primary grudge with him. WrestleMania 22, 14-0. The Undertaker won the casket match when he put Mark Henry inside the casket. WrestleMania 23, 15-0. Having won the 2007 Royal Rumble, The Undertaker earned the opportunity to select his opponent for WrestleMania with the option to wrestle WWE Champion John Cena, ACW Champion Bobby Lashley, or World Heavyweight Champion Batista. The Undertaker chose Batista. Undertaker used his signature moves Snake Eyes, Old School, and a flying clothesline early on, before executing a suicide dive to Batista, who then retaliated by performing a running powerslam through the ECW broadcast table. Batista put Undertaker back in the ring and attempted a pin to no avail as Undertaker kicked out, who then did the last ride and a chokeslam, but was unable to score a pin from either move. Batista then hit a spear and his finishing move, the Batista Bomb, but Undertaker stunned everybody by kicking out. Batista tried another, but was countered and Undertaker hit a tombstone piledriver on Batista to win the World Heavyweight Championship. WrestleMania 24, 16-0. Although The Undertaker entered the event undefeated to much acclaim, Edge had also never lost a singles match at WrestleMania. Edge described the match as the biggest match of my career, bar none. The main event, against Undertaker for the world title, it doesn't get any better. The match was full of reversals by Edge, who was defending his World Heavyweight Championship, including Undertaker's signature moves Old School, the Big Boot, the Last Ride, and the Tombstone Piledriver, while hitting big moves of his own such as the Impaler DDT and the Edge-O-Matic. The end of the match came when, despite Edge using a camera as a weapon, and interference from La Familia members the Edgeheads, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, Undertaker locked in the Hell's Gate after being hit with Edge's finisher, the Spear. Edge would submit, and for the second year in a row, The Undertaker won the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. After defeating Vladimir Kozlov on March 2, 2009, Shawn Michaels earned the right to challenge The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. WrestleMania 25, 17-0. The Undertaker after defeating Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. During the match, Undertaker attempted his signature suicide dive, but Michaels pulled a cameraman in the way, leaving Undertaker to land awkwardly on his neck. The spot was said to have added more drama and emotion to the match, and gave it an element of realism. The finish, described as emotionally charged, involved Undertaker using all four of his recognized finishing moves, Tombstone Piledriver, Last Ride, Chokeslam, Hell's Gate, without managing to finish the match on any occasion. Undertaker's wide-eyed look of sadness and desperation on his face after Michaels kicked out of the Tombstone Piledriver was described as a snapshot of the heart and passion that was on display at the spectacle. Michaels made a comeback, and eventually hit Sweet Chin Music, but Undertaker kicked out. Soon after, Michaels attempted a top rope moonsault, but was caught by Undertaker, who executed a second Tombstone Piledriver and finally won the match. The match was described as show-stealing and an instant classic, and was eventually hailed by many as the greatest bout in WrestleMania history. WrestleMania 26, 18-0. The Undertaker initially rejected a rematch with Shawn Michaels, saying a rematch at this year's WrestleMania will only result in more bitter disappointment for yourself. Shawn, I've got nothing to prove to you. My answer is no, before Michaels retaliated by saying I'll see you at WrestleMania. Your streak, your title, your soul will be mine. At Elimination Chamber, Michaels cost Undertaker his World Heavyweight Championship, coming out from under the ring and connecting with Sweet Chin Music and allowing Chris Jericho to pin him. Towards the end, Michaels hit Sweet Chin Music on the outside, leaving Undertaker lay on the broadcast table, before performing a top rope moonsault, breaking the table. At the end of a 24-minute match, after kicking out of a Tombstone Piledriver, Michaels slapped The Undertaker, leading to Undertaker executing a jumping Tombstone Piledriver on Michaels. As a result of the loss per the pre-match stipulations, Michaels retired from professional wrestling, a moment described as the end of an era. WrestleMania 27, 19-0. In the lead-up to WrestleMania 27, Triple H vowed to do what his best friend, Shawn Michaels, could not: end the streak. After a near 30-minute bout, in a match contested under no-holds-barred rules, and after both men kicked out of each other's finishing move, The Undertaker was triumphant when he locked in the Hell's Gate on Triple H. Triple H attempted to use a sledgehammer while in the hold, but was unable to do so before taping out. Although victorious, it was the first time that The Undertaker legitimately could not walk out of the arena, and had to be stretchered to the back by paramedics. WrestleMania 28, 20-0. The Undertaker made the challenge, as he wanted to redeem himself against Triple H from the previous year's WrestleMania, where he had to be stretchered out of the arena. Triple H initially rejected before accepting. Contested inside a Hell in a Cell, and refereed by Shawn Michaels, the match, billed as the end of an era, began with both men brawling in and around the ring. Shortly afterwards, with the steel steps inside the ring, Triple H hit the spine buster on Undertaker, who then managed to lock in the Hell's Gate, which was countered when Triple H lifted him up and slammed him on the steel steps. The match was littered with weapon shots, including 16 consecutive chair shots by Triple H, followed by a sledgehammer shot to the skull, all the while Undertaker instructed Michaels not to stop the match. When being checked on by Michaels, Undertaker locked him into Hell's Gate, leaving him out cold. Replacement referee Charles Robinson ran down to the ring after Undertaker hit a chokeslam on Triple H, but could only make it 2 count, and was then on the receiving end of a chokeslam himself. Michaels recovered and hit Undertaker with sweet chin music followed by a Triple H pedigree, but this wasn't enough for the 3 count. Both men traded finishing moves for near falls, before Undertaker delivered his own series of chair shots for another 2 count. Undertaker won shortly afterwards with the Tombstone Piledriver. It was praised as one of the greatest Hell in a Cell matches of all time, while Triple H thought it was one of his favorite matches of his career. WrestleMania 29, 21-0. In a controversial angle the week before WrestleMania 29, CM Punk's manager Paul Heyman, dressed as, and using the mannerisms of, the recently deceased Paul Bearer, came out to confront The Undertaker whilst flanked by Undertaker's signature druids. As Undertaker attempted to assault them, Punk, in disguise as a druid, assaulted Undertaker before pouring the ashes of an urn, purporting to be those of bearers, over Undertaker. During the 22-minute match Punk delivered a Macho Man elbow drop from the top rope onto The Undertaker, who was draped on the Spanish broadcast table. Undertaker survived this, and, after Punk hit The Undertaker with the urn containing the alleged ashes of Paul Bearer, Undertaker reversed CM Punk's GTS finishing move and hit a Tombstone Piledriver on Punk to mark the final victory in the streak. WrestleMania 30 end of the streak and aftermath, 21-1. On October 23, 2010, after losing his UFC Heavyweight Championship to Cain Velasquez at UFC 121, Brock Lesnar was confronted by The Undertaker, who asked, "You wanna do it?" The incident led to speculation about a WrestleMania match between the two, and marked the genesis of their feud. On the February 24, 2014 episode of Raw, Undertaker appeared for the first time since The Shield performed a powerbomb on him through a broadcast table 10 months earlier, to challenge Lesnar to a match at WrestleMania 30, scheduled for April 6 at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. Undertaker went into the match as the massive odds-on favorite, but after 1 Kimura lock and 3 F5s, Lesnar pinned The Undertaker in 25 minutes and 12 seconds to end the undefeated WrestleMania streak, silencing and shocking the entire crowd in the process. Undertaker was legitimately hospitalized afterwards with a severe concussion suffered early in the match. Lesnar's music was not played for a few minutes while WWE cameramen continued to highlight the reaction of a stunned crowd, while his manager Paul Heyman thereafter began using the victory to further promote his client and referred to himself as the one behind the 1 in 21-1, and later 20. WrestleMania 32. In February 2016, Shane McMahon returned to the WWE, but was disappointed in how things were being run and wanted control of Raw, so Vince McMahon gave Shane the ultimatum that if Shane could defeat an opponent in a match of Vince's choosing at WrestleMania 32, Shane would gain control of Raw, which Shane accepted. Vince named The Undertaker as Shane's opponent in a Hell in a Cell match and later gave The Undertaker the stipulation that if he were to lose, his could no longer appear at WrestleMania. During the match, Shane attempted an elbow drop from the top of the cell onto Undertaker, who was laid out on a broadcast table, but Undertaker moved, causing Shane to crash through the table. The Undertaker defeated Shane, making his record 23-1, retaining the right to continue appearing at WrestleMania while ostensibly preventing Shane from gaining control of Raw, although he temporarily did by other means. WrestleMania 33. At the 2017 Royal Rumble on January 29, Roman Reigns eliminated The Undertaker from the Royal Rumble match, claiming that the ring was his yard, which The Undertaker had claimed for years. On the March 6 episode of Raw, Braun Strowman, who lost to Reigns the night before at Fastlane, called out Reigns, but Undertaker came out instead and the two had a stare down until Strowman left, immediately after which Reigns came out and got in Undertaker's face and again claimed that the ring was his yard now, resulting in Undertaker performing a chokeslam on Reigns. A match, made a no-holds-barred match at the event, between the two at WrestleMania 33 was made official the following week, and Reigns told Shawn Michaels that he would retire The Undertaker just as Undertaker had retired Michaels. At the event on April 2, Reigns gave Undertaker his second WrestleMania loss after performing his finisher move, the Spear, 5 times, making Undertaker's record 23-2. Post-match, The Undertaker symbolically left his gloves, coat, and hat in the center of the ring. At the center of the entrance ramp, he did his signature arm-raise taunt as he was lowered below the stage. There was much speculation that this was Undertaker's final match,